Gli ottomodani, la famiglia.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Traditional group, please don't leave. Don't take away your stuff. While we're still waiting, can you please play the last song? Give us your last performance. But how I so wish that my learned colleague Lizelle van der Merwe was here to stand by me. So you play that song, Stand By Me. So I will humbly request that you play that song for us, Stand By Me. I need someone to stand by me in her absence, and that will be you. Thank you, Ingoma Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, a better round of applause. Yeah, Mevrouw van der Merwe, Lizel, in your absentia, now I feel your presence. Yeah. I'm just waiting for a signal from Tepo to say if we can start. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, if we can share a few logistics. I trust that we all had some refreshment outside, and you are most welcome to can go outside at any point in time to just go and grab one or two of the refreshments that we like to have. So other logistical issues that we may share are the restrooms. So the restrooms will be outside on my right-hand side. If you go that way, there's a passage. Through the passage, then you'll find the restrooms. And I think for male and female are just opposite one another. So I think around that, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we will be fine. Greetings to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Before we can start, I'd like to request the operating system to assist me And I'll
Ladies
humbly
and
request
gentlemen,
that.
welcome to Inseta's annual general meeting
Wow,
2023.
wow.
The insurance sector and education authority's vision is empowered to influence and inspire. Our theme for this year is the excellence model, walk the journey with us. We are thrilled that you could be part of this year's AGM. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the meeting.
Yeah, that was the clip that I requested them to play. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, may I humbly request that we all stand. And we open our session with the national anthem. I'm not good in singing, but we'll observe. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We may have our seats. May we make sure that everyone is seated. We are about to start with our program. Just to introduce myself, my name is Jacob James Muziga Isemabena Imputuma, Ungaku. I'm your program director for today. Chairperson of the Inseta board, Mr. Sihle Ngubane, Umbovu. My fellow board members, Inseta CEO, Ms. Gugum Kize, Ukabazela. Inseta executives and staff, representatives from the D-head, representatives from the Auditor General, all SETA CEOs present today. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols are observed. I am delighted to welcome you all to our annual general meeting today. As a board member and your program director, it is both an honor and privilege to address you on this important occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, our annual general meeting as Inseta is not just a mandatory gathering. Our AGM is a moment for us to come together. Our AGM is a moment for us to reflect on our achievements. Our AGM is a moment for us to acknowledge our challenges. Our AGM is a moment for us to co-craft a course for the future. It is an opportunity to celebrate the hard work and dedication of our members. Our AGM is an opportunity to celebrate the hard work of our employees. It's an opportunity to celebrate our stakeholders. So as we gather today, I encourage all of you to participate actively in the discussions that lie ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, your engagement is crucial to the continued success of this organization, the Inseta. Your input, your insights, and your feedback are invaluable as we shape the path forward. Today's meeting will provide an overview of our financial performance, update on our strategic initiatives, and a chance for you to ask questions and voice your concerns. It is a platform to be informed. I love this one, and to hold us accountable. Let us approach this AGM with a spirit of collaboration, a spirit of unity, and a spirit of optimism. Together we will overcome challenges. Together we will seize opportunities. And together we will continue to thrive. Thank you for your dedication and support. With that said, okay. With that said, I call upon the chairperson of the Inseta board, Mr. Sihle Ngubane, to deliver his report and call for additional items that are not reflected on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the chairperson of Inseta, Umbovu.
I think the agenda is on the table. It was it's all on our table. We this thing we have it on our table. So program director, Mr. Mabena, our board member representing labor, CEO of Inseta, Ms. Gugumkize, then our invited guest, CEO of NSA, our boss. We have the boss of all sectors, that's NSA, that they keep on checking us that we stay on the line. And then the CEO of MQA, and the board members from Inseta as well, Khalil, and I think Paula is here, another board members present. other board members connected online from Inseta, and our company secretary Natalie Naidu from IKS, executives of Inseta and all staff members, DHEAD representative present and online, as well as CEO of other sitters that are invited, the CEO as colleagues, distinguished guests, members of insurance industry, all invited. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of the board members and management of SITA, I welcome you all on it's our third AGM as this new board, if I'm not mistaken. There have been AGMs before, and this is the third one to us. I assume company secretary were in compliance with the minimum requirements of the quorum of the AGM, as well as for both the board and the AGM. And the notice was issued on time, and the guests were invited. So there's nothing we haven't complied on. I'm not sure about the minute they were distributed or because it's the IGM. Thank you, colleagues and stakeholders, for joining us to this Inseta AGM. As Mr. Mabena has emphasized, the purpose of the AGM for today's meeting is to inform, consult, engage on issues of Inseta. In that nutshell as well, in the insurance space, let's congratulate as well. There was a meeting of the SAFCA, I think on the 3rd of August, the South African Venture Capital and Private Equity Association, where they elected new 5 board members as the new one on their AGM, where most of those board members that were nominated on the SAVCA are highly experienced insurance expertise in the insurance industry. And then normally as in SITA, we normally are champions of transformation. We want to congratulate as well the recent appointment of Mr. Executive Director to the board of Momentum Metropolitan. As we see the slowness or the traction of the transformation in the financial sector, especially the insurance space. We welcome as well the research by the actuarial research by the Actuarial Society of South Africa. The research outcomes that identify how different investment strategies may prevent erosion of living annuities, which we need to avoid this running out of money. There is a challenge of the economy in South Africa, and there is an experience of a lot of withdrawal from living annuities investment. The contribution of that as well is the retrenchments, the huge retrenchments, and living annuities are being withdrawn now and again. So the reason I'm raising this is just because of the backdrop of the economy, struggling economy of the country. The South African economy is not doing well as planned, as expected. The investors, foreign and domestic, are holding back on investment in South Africa. And busy as in SITA, with all other sitters are participating on the economic recovery plan execution. So we hope that somewhere, somehow along the line, we'll get an update on the impact of that economic recovery plan of the country that is contributed by us as sitters under the D8 umbrella. So we've seen stakeholders, the expected huge retrenchments in mining as well that's about to happen. In financial sectors, as in banks, we've experienced the bloodbath retrenchments in banks. So one of my friends said there is a benefit to that retrenchment. More banks are going online with less staff members. So we'll see the cut So we hope that will happen. The financial sector, the bank won't hold back when they've seen the profit rise. We know there's too much talk about the rand manipulation and all those. So I think we need to look at, as a country, look at the strengthening of weaknesses in our banking ombudsman, as well as in SITA. What we need to emphasize on with the look of rand manipulation is to train insurance advisors, investment advisors, and wealth managers, actuaries that have ethics and morals to avoid producing plain individuals that want to cut corners in terms of advising people with their wealth management and insurance management. So, colleagues, stakeholders, in terms of corporate governance, the insurance SITA is still intact. We are here to report on that on today's AGM. All board members of Inseta are still present. All positions that were vacant were filled, except one positions from a representative of SASBO, which needs to be filled in terms of our board. This is still in progress as well. All board committees are fully functional. I think we recently appointed 3 new independent audit and risk committee members. I think which is chaired by Ms. Muguni, which is present here. If I'm not mistaken, we had a board meeting. Oh, she's here. We had a board meeting this morning. She was on the board meeting. So we have fresh from the board, from the box, the audit and risk committee members. The board has its annual stretch session planning, and we had our risk workshop as well. All the requirements by the shareholders, the DA to meet, the APP and SP for this financial year were prepared, updated and submitted on time to the DA. The board is in collaboration and in harmony and in unison. And as well as at executive level, all positions were filled. I know the CEO will come in on presenting where she will talk in deeply on the executive report and on an operational level. There's one position at executive that they still need to fill. The interesting part of Inseta to stakeholders as we report back on the AGM is that the Inseta is run by young people. So you see Inseta gentlemen there, you see them with nice ties, and we have good gentlemen, young as they are. So Inseta is run by youthful executives and management. We pride ourselves with innovativeness. We've seen things like ISSF, insurance sector student fund, which is very much praised as well by the minister, and other cities are starting to how can they create their own fund within their own sector. I think, as I said, we innovative through the CEO. We've seen research colloquiums as some of the examples that we've seen as initiatives. So, and seen the excellence model of the CEO that has won her medals left, right, and center. I mean, awards left, right, and center. Thank you very much for that clap of hands. The CEO, she's won the prestigious honorary award for Legend of Empowerment in 2023, which means when she does her work, thinking that she's working, people are seeing the result of these things. So you mustn't think, CEO, that you're doing things in the corners. People are watching. And then there is another award of IPM Institute for People Management. She has won Business Leader of the Year 2023, the Standard Bank Top Woman in Public Sector. Recently, we were invited in Thailand to win an award of the CEO of the Year in Insurance Training Institute, as well as the Best Insurance Training Institute 2022. So congratulations, CEO, and well done. I think the last time, let's clap hands for the CEO. This is what you see when you becoming innovative and create new things. We always push for that from the board to our management. Be innovative, create new things, go an extra mile. When we speak about innovation, we say do things that has never been done before. Hence, we have the ISSF, VIS, and and all. So let's see, oh, these are the things that have drawn awards to yourself. We congratulate you. We ask you for more. Uh, so stakeholders in Inseta, we've seen the applicants' grants received and responses. We've seen the revenue growth. By virtue of the revenue growth of Inseta, which means we are seeing a shift from levy payers moving from other sector to Inseta. Revenue growth when the economy is bad like this, you wouldn't see it really from new levy payers. Because if you know that the economy is already struggling, a lot of some of SMMEs and business insurance, they will evaporate or they close shop. But when Inseta, even though there's closing of shop, but you still see the revenue growth, which means there's other levy payers who are moving from other sectors to come and join Inseta. So by virtue of that, in reporting to this AGM, we will say there's something good that we are doing. I know Lizelle from board members from FIA as well as played a huge role in terms of that, in terms of championing, bringing other members from FIA to come and join Inseta to pay their levies there. And we thank Lizelle as well and other board members who have uh, talked very good about the Inseta work. The organization is transforming the sustainability of business through co-funding and sourcing of funds from outside is happening. The data is a critical factor of the business is taken care of and looking at that in terms of data cleanup because that's a heartbeat of the organization. And then we, as in Inseta, we focus as well on the fintech, which assist us to align ourselves with the latest technologies, IT, of 4IR robotics and artificial intelligence. And I think CEO went to a fintech startup accelerator 2023 to try and look at those fintech for financial industry. Again, we emphasize on the prevention of fraud in the insurance industry. There is that element of rights. There is this movie by the lady Popo. If really the fraud can be prevented in insurance, those things can stop. And I see the news, there was another one in Tembisa again, where people target family members as a pawn of making money through insurance. So some of the things on the training is to emphasize that ethics and morale in terms of preventing fraud. We're trying to increase on the sector to sector collaboration, as in CETA, as well as CETA to TVET collaboration. So in that nutshell, colleagues, as the agenda has been placed, it was my welcoming note to this one to say, welcome to this AGM, and the CEO will present, will come and present as well, just the heartbeat of the AGM meeting. Thank you again for coming to this AGM. Let's engage and build one another to be better than yesterday. So after this session at the end, or depending on the program director's progress, we'll have that engagement, question and answer session. In that nutshell, thank you, stakeholders. But before I move from the stage, I was requested to do the formalities as we have asked, and before that we have a quorum. We're meeting the quorum to ask for the addition of the any addition of the item on our agenda that is circulated, so that we proceed with the business of today. Is there any addition to today's agenda? So we're good to go. We're happy with the agenda as it is. Can we then get a mover and a seconder for today's agenda and then move to the agenda? The meeting is for stakeholders. Inseta is coming to report back on the business of the day. A gentleman there at the back, are you moving? Thank you. And the seconder, you can stand up and tell us who you are and say you are moved on the agenda so that it can be recorded.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Professor Bomi Nomlala from the University of KwaZulu-Natal. I do propose that we move with the agenda as is. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. There is a mover, the seconder. There is another hand here in front for secondment. If you have a Pavarotti's voice.
Thank you, Chair. Mandilake Channel from Strategy. I second the movement.
Thank you, Mandilake. So, colleagues, the agenda has been approved. So we are now in an official business of the meeting. I think Program Director, as I welcome everyone in the IGM, I think my business for this agenda item is done, so I can then leave the stage. Thank you very much, colleagues, and thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Don't go away, Chair. Don't go away, Chair. Chair, according to the agenda, before I hand over to you, Chair, ladies and gentlemen, when you register outside, they have given you a pack. In that pack, there are minutes for our AGM, which was held on the 1st of December, 2022. So that's what the chair is going to talk about now. Let me not waste time, ladies and gentlemen, and call back the chair on the podium so that the chair can deal with the minutes of the previous meeting. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Program Director, Mr. Mabena. As the Program Director has explained, we all received the minutes on our packaging. So I will do like I normally do on the board meetings and any other board meetings. We take that the minutes has been read. I think some of us were here around 2, so we just went through these 3 pages and we read them. I guarantee you, the insurance sector is full of fast readers and reading people. So, colleagues, what I will do in the approval of this minute, I'll go page 1. If anyone has seen something that needs to be corrected on the minutes of the previous AGM meeting, that is not the reflection of the truth, or that needs some misspelling or some correction, as I call all the page, you will stop me, we correct that so that we adopt this meeting, these minutes in this formal meeting as a genuine reflective of the previous year's AGM. So I will then start from page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, and page 6. That's the minutes of the previous AGM. As I've been asked to request the adoption of the previous minutes, and if there is no other amendments or correction that has been picked up by the people present here, can I get then the approval and the seconder of the previous minutes of the previous AGM? Yes, Prof? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, if I look at the financial statements, there were a few figures that were restated in the previous year. Was there an exercise to then correct those figures in the minutes? Because some of the figures for 2022 have changed as a result of the current or 2023 audit. Has that exercise been done to restate some of the figures that are mentioned, I think, on page 4? Thank you. That was my question. Thank you.
Okay, Company Secretary, you want to assist us on that? I told you that this is a financial sector. Prof has went and read the pack now. We still on the minutes. Prof is talking about the actual heart. Natalie?
Thanks so much, Chair. Chair, through you, just to note that the minutes are recorded in accordance with the discussions at the meeting. So as they were presented, they would be recorded in that order. The restatement wouldn't have been affected or wouldn't take an effect in the minutes.
You fine, Prof. Okay, Prof is fine. Any other? No other questions on the previous minutes. Can I get a mover and a seconder then? Stakeholders? Yes, sir. A mic to the gentleman.
Thank you, sir. Muteo Kwadi here, and we move. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The gentleman is moving that we adopt the minutes of the previous meeting. Can I get a seconder? Board members want to move. They can't move. This is their meeting. We're working for the stakeholders. Board members, we have got a conflict of interest if you move for your minutes. Yes, sir, gentlemen, then.
But I would like to know maybe why are we taking a year to adopt the minutes, not maybe a month after the AGM?
Company Secretary, Natalie wants to help us on that.
Thanks so much. So in terms of the governance protocol, the minutes must be adopted by the forum at which they serve. And in this instance, it's the annual general meeting.
Yeah, we can adopt it after this tomorrow, but it's not us. It's not us, it's not the Inseta. Yes, sir, gentlemen.
Okay, good day. My name is Asam Gelajabe. Hereby adopt that we can move.
Thank you, sir. The previous minutes of the previous meeting has been adopted. And Program Director, anything else from me? Thank you very much, colleagues, for adopting the minutes of the previous meeting. And I'm stepping out and giving it to Program Director. Thanks, Chair.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the chairperson of Inseta Board. The chairperson has spoken. And in so saying, ladies and gentlemen, I officially declare the 2022-23 annual general meeting open. So we are starting. Right. Uh, there's this area around the northwest. I don't know if you are familiar with it. When they are celebrating, you'll hear them. They'll hear them. They say, "Hwetsahala." Do you know that? Hwetsahala. What's happening? Are you in line with that? Hwetsahala? Kwenzakalan? What's happening? Let's ask Inseta what's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the moment where most of us have been eagerly waiting for. Not only myself, but I think everyone who's in this room. The presentation of the 2022-2023 annual report. By who? By who? The CEO of Inseta. Kabazela remains seated. Before she comes on stage, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you all to join me as we give her a standing ovation. May I humbly request that we stand. For the two reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, number one, for the excellence she has brought to the Inseta and to the sector, the financial sector at large. You agree? She has put the Inseta on the map, locally and internationally. The chair has spoken about the Thailand and all these other places that I only see on the map. As you have heard, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know much about trending. Trending, I don't know. But I know she and the chairperson have been trending on social media for weeks now. Those who are on TikTok, she's there. Those who are on WhatsApp, she's there. Both of them, ladies and gentlemen. And in so saying, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to put our hands together and allow Ukabazela to walk on stage. Let's do the honors, ladies and gentlemen. Po, 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 po.
Wow, thank you. Please take your seats. Chairperson of the board, Mr. Sihle Ngubane, members of the board, chairperson of the new chairperson of the audit committee, as well as the committee members, Ms. Gloria Mnguni, the chairperson of the risk committee, Mr. Vernon Mageleni, CEO of the Mining Qualifications Authority, MQA, Mr. Doctor. He earned this title. Dr. Mashongwane, CEO of the NSA, Mr. Zamo Kuzwayo. Other CEOs represented here, I know that there were CEOs who had said that they will send representatives in this AGM. We appreciate your presence. The Department of Higher Education and Training, Mr. Ngubane is the Chief Director on the way. He just sent me a message that he is almost here. So let's acknowledge him as he makes his way here. Employers present, stakeholders represented from the multiple stakeholders that we have, including our very key partners, the organized employers or organized labor. There are two unions that we work with very closely in the sector, that's IPSA and SASBO. So we really pride ourselves in the relationship that we have with the organized labor, trade associations represented, professional bodies, staff of Inseta, the executive management, very capable executive management. Management of Inseta. And these are the kingmakers, Chairperson, because without the staff and managers and the executive, all these accolades that we are being appreciated for would just be a pipe dream. So it's very important that we acknowledge the contribution that the staff is working behind the scenes. And some of them, you never even see them, but they work with you very closely in helping us to achieve our mandate. Chairperson, the presentation is being flighted, but I thought I would just highlight that this is just a snapshot of the annual report. If we were to go through the whole annual report, we probably need two more days to go through the annual report. But the reason why we are just presenting to you at a high level some of the key highlights of our work is because we want to be able to account to you and share with you where our journey has taken us over the last couple of years, including the current financial year. So Chairperson, allow me to take the members through the presentation. Our scope would be covering the strategic objectives, governance, from a corporate governance, organizational performance, SETA highlights, financial information, our audit strategy, as well as the way forward. I also want to acknowledge the Office of the AG that made a special call this afternoon to say that they wish us well in the AGM, although they are unable to join us because of prior engagements. We have taken a very serious stance in building the relationship with our assurance providers because we believe that they are the ones who are assisting us and propelling us to become a better organization from an internal control perspective. I would also like to, is Nonku here? Nonku, yes. I would also like to appreciate our outgoing chairperson of the Audit and Risk Committee, Nonkululego. Can we please give her a round of applause? Salosha, are we ready? So I will hear from you when you are ready. The presentation is basically covering some of the key highlights, as I indicated, and I want to just start with the strategic overview and highlight to you. By the way, thank you very much. I am a multi-award winner. 5 awards, I think maybe some of you might not be aware, 5 awards from July to the end of November, which means like in a very short space of time. And 4 out of the 5, we got them just in the month of November. So keep them coming. We are an organization that prides itself in trying to be better than what it was, where it has been previously. And you would see that we are not only just working on the normal run of the mill, but we are pushing ourselves as an organization, but also we are pushing the sectors or the stakeholders that we work very closely with. I think we can acknowledge Mr. Ngubane as he walks in. Move. So our vision is anchored on empowering and influencing with a touch of inspiration. What do I mean by that? Is that our mandate is anchored on the work that we do, which is to facilitate skills development. And you may know that we do not, as a SETA, train, but we work with delivery partners in terms of getting the work done and pushing our mandate. And as we move to our values, I want to just quote an unknown quote, which is talking to resilience, meaning adapting to change. And the insurance and financial services sector has been going through an exciting and somewhat progressive transformation. We continuously strive for transformation and working towards implementing programs that are propelling transformation in the insurance industry. The pace might not be as what we want, but it excites us to see that some of the programs we implement, they do yield positive results. We are anchored on 6 key values, and one of those values is collaboration. Without collaboration, I think our work cannot stand. And also, we are anchored on innovation. The chairperson made reference to the insurance sector, the groundbreaking insurance sector student fund, which is actually a funding model that is supported by 12 employers. Majority of those employers are large employers. We started the fund in 2021. And you will hear the statistics later on in terms of how many people have benefited from the fund so far. But we also have a value which we appreciate, that it deals with accountability. We like accounting. We want our stakeholders to hold us accountable because we handle the monies of our stakeholders in terms of especially the insurance industry from a training perspective. Just as I highlighted, our delivery partners, I think we're moving to the next slide. Yes. Our delivery partners, we do have as a primary stakeholder the employers who actually give life to the mandate, because without funding, we will not be able to implement our objectives. As ambitious as we might be, but we still require funding to be able to implement our mandate. So the employers contribute their levies significantly towards ensuring that we're able to train in the sector, bring young people, and build a capable pipeline of people that can enter the sector. But we also work with universities of technology. There are 26 UOTs and universities in the country. And currently, we're very proud to announce that out of the 26 universities, just in this financial year alone that ended, we funded 20 universities. Our strategic partners include organized employers, professional bodies, private organizations, as well as community organization. We recently signed an MOU with Bakhatla Bakafela in the Northwest, and I am hoping that they are represented today by Hosi, because they had confirmed that they would be here with us. We appreciate the partnership, and already there are plans in place to implement and support the rural communities. It's just one of the locations or areas, but Inseta is deeply entrenched in working in the rural areas and supporting young people who would not ordinarily get those opportunities. This year, I was invited for the first time to one of the largest trade union gatherings, which was the SASBO annual convention, to deliver a keynote address regarding the theme, My Career, My Union. And That's the strength of the relationship we have with our stakeholders. But over and above that, we also, with the trade associations as well as the professional bodies, we work very closely. I remember that we are currently also implementing, in fact, next week we'll be having a graduation for the retirees program, which is being run in partnership with SAIA. Our accredited training providers, or the SDPs, play a critical role as well in enabling our work as well. So we regard them as key partners. The TVET colleges are critical also in supporting us in our mandate and being able to deliver on what we are expected to do. There are 50 TVET colleges. Out of the 50 TVET colleges, we are pleased to announce that just in this financial year that ended, we funded 40 TVET colleges on various programs. On the community colleges, the CETs, there are 9 in the province. There are 9 which are spread across the 9 provinces. And Inseta, to date, has been able to fund 2 of those CET colleges. They are quite critical. And one of the stands we've taken as a CETA is that we do not want to just pump money into the CET colleges. However, we want to partner with them to undertake research on what their needs are, so that when we implement programs, we're implementing programs that are meaningful for them. As we move on to the excellence model, I think the chairperson touched on it a bit earlier on. In less than a year ago, we conceptualized the excellence model because we wanted to have a view of the organization in terms of wanting to implement or drive excellence across different levels within the organization. And how we did this, we went to the staff and said, we want to develop an excellence model. And they said, but we don't know anything about the excellence model. Where do we even start? And we said, all of us don't know, but we are going to build this excellence canvas. We onboarded a service provider who was very gracious to assist us and has been walking this journey with us, Dr. Mnene, who has assisted us from initial conceptualization of the excellence model into looking at what the canvas of the excellence model is going to be into the actual document. So at the moment, we are at that point where we are now going to start with the implementation. But excellence, if you go to our newly renovated building, by the way, we are no longer in Parktown, we are now in Ilevo, Sandton. So if you would like to visit our offices, we would be very happy to host you. If you go through the building, just the whole ambience, if you walk through the building, the word excellence is everywhere. And we want to make sure that as stakeholders, you hold us accountable. When you see excellence and you're not getting excellence, you must ask us the question as to what is happening, because you've got excellence and you're talking about it, but you're not living it. So we wanted to push ourselves to implement the mandate, the model. It's anchored on 4 pillars, which is the mandate, the impact, the system, and the people. And we know that through this journey, you're going to assist us. We've gone through a very transformative era as an organization over the last 2-3 years, where we're implementing the new system, in fact, new systems, the ERP, the MIS, and as a sector, we really appreciate the fact that you have really been patient with us. You've supported us, you've given us valuable inputs, and you have given us some of the proposal that have assisted in crafting and making sure that the system functions the way that it does. We are in a stabilization and recovery mode, and we've been able to, in the previous financial year, have the WSP submitted. 90% of our WSPs were submitted online and only 10% were submitted virtually, which I thought it would be the other way around because of the challenges that we were facing. From a corporate governance perspective, the chairperson already touched on the members of the board. The board is fully constituted, as you can see, and we are really blessed to have a board like this. I did indicate to the chairperson of the board and the board earlier on that the staff requested me when they welcomed me last week to say to the board and the chairperson of the board, thank you for allowing management to implement or the space to implement the strategies and also supporting and guiding management. So we appreciate that. Please give the board and the chairperson the round of applause. Aline, are you ready? Okay. So can I request the chairperson of the audit, the outgoing chairperson of the audit committee to please come on stage? I think Nonku to say thank you is an understatement. The amount of work and contribution you've made to the organization is invaluable. We can never put it into words, but we just wanted everyone to see how much we appreciate you and thank you very much. Please don't be a stranger. We hope that you will continue supporting us, and this is just a token of our appreciation to you. Thank you. Thank you. We also want to express our sincere thanks to Mr. Chimomola, who was very, those who may have interacted with Mr. Chimomola will know that he's a very passionate gentleman. When he puts his point across, you can hear that he's really passionate. We want to express our sincere appreciation to him as well as Ms. Piri, who have supported Ms. Nyagaza on the committee. We do have a chairperson of the risk committee. Prem, I know you're online, but I don't want to tell the members what you said when we interviewed Mr. Makeleni the first time and we were interviewing him virtually. So I will leave that as a secret between me and you. Our chairperson of the risk committee has really played a significant role in bringing the organization into order from a risk perspective. He has assisted with governance documents as well as also the capacitation. We now have an executive manager for risk, and also the team is growing. We have a manager for risk, and I see that we are finalizing the recruitment of some of the positions. So thank you very much, Mr. Makeleni, for your contribution and supporting us. Once again, we look forward to your leadership. From a risk management or risk management perspective or maturity perspective, a risk assessment was undertaken this year, and we were found to be sitting at 71%. And we do have a robust risk management. We are on a road of excellence, and therefore this you will see a different picture going forward because we take risk management very seriously. On the organizational performance, I just wanted to highlight the previous 5 financial years. If you look at 18-19, our performance was sitting at 93%, and with 54 out of 58 indicators. We then went into 2019-20 with 61 indicators, out of which 50 were achieved, 83%. And in 2021-2022, which was the COVID period, 12% of our performance indicators were taken away from here due to the payment holiday. That's the reason why you see a dip in the performance, and we had 53 indicators, and out of those, 38 were achieved. And if you look at 2021-2022, there were 56 indicators, and we achieved 48 out of those with 81% performance. And currently, or the year under review, or the year that we are presenting to you, is we had 56 indicators. Out of the 56 indicators, we missed just 3 indicators, and we were at 91%. And you can see that we are on an upward trajectory in terms of recovery of our performance. We are serious about excellence because quantity must also be balanced with quality. So it's not just a matter of us pushing the numbers, but we want to see impact in terms of the programs that we are running. Sorry, my slides jumped. And if we then just go into the overall performance, as I indicated, at 91%, our achievement for the overall performance, organizational performance, we have got 4 programs. Those 4 programs are administration, skills planning, learning programs, and quality assurance. So on the administration program, there were 4 targets, and we met 3 out of the 4 targets. And I think the 4th target is the one that talks to the audit outcome. And under skills planning, we had 7 targets, and we met 100% of those targets. And in the learning programs, which is the largest number of where the indicators, the performance indicators are sitting. For me, I think if you look at these indicators, it might look like, okay, you missed the targets. But considering the fact that you have 36 indicators under this program, and we've been able to achieve 32, is actually a good a reflection in terms of our performance, because this is the crux of what we do. It's implementation of the learning programs. So we achieved 88% on those indicators out of the overall in program 3. Under quality assurance, we had 6 quality indicators, and those 6 indicators, just like the man who leads this team says, we were cruising nicely. We cruised nicely, and we achieved 100% on those. So if you look at the comparison, just the comparison, you will see that our performance is on an upward trajectory across all the programs. I mean, if you compare last year under the administration, we missed 2 targets. This year we achieved 3. And also we have maintained on skills planning and quality assurance. In the previous financial year, we had achieved on program 3, 85. Now we've moved to 83. So you can see, next year we'll come back and say 100% or 110 has been achieved. Who knows? Just on the summary of the program delivery, next slide, operator. We thought that we will just show you the picture of where the investment has gone into in terms of the discretionary and the mandatory grant. In 2023, putting all the numbers together in terms of the programs that we had, 13,357 people benefited from the Inseta's program at a cost of 255 million. I thought you were going to clap hands. And then with all the challenges that we may have had with the system migration, etc., we were able to support which means these 1,107 employers, they submitted their WSPs, but they also ran training programs, which means that we are still having a very healthy relationship between our employers, and we dispersed about 140 million towards that. Young people exposed to insurance carriers. This is the stance we've taken since the board, the new board has taken over, as well as myself, which was the fact that we are deliberate about promoting insurance. The reason why we want to promote insurance carriers in the rural areas, in the townships, is because there is a myth around the insurance. I'm not sure, maybe in other industries, this is not the case, but with us, when you go to young people in high school and ask them what do they want to become, perhaps if you were to list them and put insurance there, we will be the last to be considered. So we are trying to put ourselves on the top by ensuring that we sell the insurance carriers to young people as early as possible. To this extent, what we have done, we have a movie. And this movie was shown to more than 5,000 young people last year across South Africa in the deep rural areas about the top 10 critical skills in the insurance industry. Whilst challenges in the economy of the country and there are issues with in other sectors, we believe that insurance is at a cutting edge of creating real tangible employment opportunities if young people get exposed early, but also if young people are channeled in the right careers. So we've been able to really advocate and we are very intentional about advocating for insurance programs in the industry, insurance careers in the industry. Just some key highlights in the skills planning. We hosted our, not so long ago, we hosted the colloquium, which we'll obviously talk about in the next financial year. But some of the key issues we have done is with the stakeholder connect approach that we have initiated. We have gone to the lengths and breadths of the country, sharing information to our stakeholders about skills planning, research, and sharing as well what our research agenda is in terms of what are the changes happening in the industry. There's lots of innovation. There's cryptocurrency, which was highlighted earlier on. There's fintechs, there's insurtechs. All of these are potentially opportunities, but also they could present some threats. We understand that the insurance industry is highly regulated. So when you pursue some of these opportunities, it's important to understand. So we've gone through a number of workshops engaging with the stakeholders under the skills planning. On the learning programs, as I indicated, we implemented more than 13,000. We've benefited more than 13,000 people in our learning programs through our funding or funding opportunities. From a quality assurance perspective, we pride ourselves as a leading seater in the occupational qualification agenda. We have got currently, we are sitting on about 11 occupational qualifications, and we have already articulated some of the beneficiaries who are trained on the occupational qualifications. We know that the day zero of the legacy qualification is approaching very fast, and we are very intentional about wanting to have a strategy for working towards migrating our stakeholders towards occupational qualifications. If we move on to the insurance sector student fund, I'm not sure if the stakeholders may have heard this, but what we have done through the approval of the board, we have a fund called Insurance Sector Student Fund, a groundbreaking fund, which is attracting awards, but also not just attracting awards, assisting young people who are unemployed to get opportunities that would have not been able to get. But what is unique about this program is, this fund, is that it also allows us to fund outside of the top 10 or the top 20 discuss critical skills and fund people, young people across the insurance value chain. And I'm talking about marketing people, legal people, medical people, etc. These are the people who would benefit from this type of fund. So far, we have invested 42 million. There are 12 employers, as I indicated, who pledged and contributed to the fund. We are awaiting for another big injection with one of our potential funders, and this will see the fund jumping in terms of the budget to high proportions. 460 beneficiaries have benefited already. So to say that you establish something, you know, people, sometimes you have ideas, you get the board approving, and then once the board is approved, it takes you 5 years to get it implemented. We got this approved. Within months, we advertised. Within months, we had the first cohort. Within months, we had the second cohort. So this 460 is young people who benefited from 2 financial years. That deserves a round of applause. Sorry, it's 15 employees. My bet, it's 15 employers, not 12. If we look at just the career guidance, I'm just sharing very briefly. This is where we have been in terms of the some of the career guidance. We participate a lot in the activities or in other career guidance events that are hosted by the department, hosted by other departments, and hosted by provincial departments, the municipalities, as well as other partners. But this one was driven by us, and we were able to benefit more than 5,000 young people by sharing the information and engaging with young people. Just in terms of the highlights, these awards have already been spoken about, but I thought let's share with the stakeholders in detail about the awards. I will not cover all of them, but I think the Legend of Empowerment, which was received on the 20th of July, sort of opened the doors and the gates for us to then get some of these awards. The next one was the top women leader in the public sector. The next one was the IPM business leader. This one followed me while I was abroad, and I heard that I won the award. And then the last two were the ones where myself and the chairperson were in Thailand. For me, I think what the message of these awards are, it's not just getting accolades, but it is also confirmation that what we are doing is being recognized, but also what we are doing is making an impact in the sector, and that not only local people, but globally, someone is watching. So it's a very good vote of confidence for the board and also for the institution at large. Just on the, thank you. The support for the SMEs and cooperatives. 92% of our sector is SMEs or small business or intermediaries. So it's very important that we provide support that is required and capacitation for our small employers. And we are really excited to report that we were able to support 426 SMEs across the different programs. One of the key issues affecting some of the businesses is the whole evolution of digitization and migration from manual work or face-to-face type of working into a digital world. So we are really active in supporting and working with the small businesses. By the way, we are also working with organized labor extensively. Last year, we were able to, we've already been able to fund more than 400 workers on digital literacy or digital fluency programs. And this is not just your introduction to IT, but it talks to cybersecurity, it talks to drone technology, it talks to other tech data analytics and other IT-related programs. When we did our SSP this year, we were able to establish that the emerging skills, there are 9 new emerging skills, and out of those 9 emerging skills, all of them are digital skills in the insurance industry, which means we need our planning to align to that, because for the next 2 or 3 years, the top 10 scarce and critical skills that we are seeing now, we might be seeing a completely different list of those scarce and critical skills because of the technological advances and the speed at which technology is taking over. We also were able to implement 8 rural projects, and we initiated and implemented 8 rural projects during the year under review. We're also able to support cooperatives, 29 cooperatives. These are people who are in the financial, KG calls them CFIs, who are in the financial services space, to come together and they want to form a cooperative. So we provide capacitation in terms of training there. I indicated earlier that we are already one of the leading seaters in terms of occupational qualifications with 11 occupational qualifications. We have 34 training providers who have migrated towards the occupational qualifications. And to date, 574 people or learners have qualified in the occupational qualifications. Just on the legacy qualification, I'm not going to cover that. I will skip that slide. And also on the promotion of transformation, what we are doing is that transformation can happen in the industry through us influencing skills development. So we have introduced leadership development programs. We are in partnership with the Henley Business School. We're in the process of onboarding 2 more institutions that are going to help us. Our target, I gave EMO the target and he was like, hey, yeah, EMO, CEO. So our target is to make sure that by the time a chairperson, our term ends, we have trained 1,000 leaders in the industry. So that's very ambitious, but we know we're going to do it. And these leaders will be trained across the different program at different levels. We're already well on our way. You will see that we already are well on our way. But also the leadership training is not only just for academic programs, but it's for coaching and mentoring as well. I mentioned the retirees program. That's the intention of making sure that the older generation is able to transfer the information or skills, technical skill, insurance technical skills to the younger generations. So the other element or aspect of us promoting transformation is that we are also looking at disability programs, supporting disability programs. We already have supported in partnership with the employers, the disability programs, but also we want to have an inclusive approach in ensuring that if you are a young person, doesn't matter where you come from in the country, if you are looking for an opportunity in the insurance in terms of training, we are able to reach you and support you. And all of that cannot happen without the support of our stakeholders. We are big on research and innovation, and I think we are pumping a lot of money in terms of ensuring that we undertake research that is informing what exactly is happening in the industry and how do we align skills development. One of the things that I've highlighted very strongly to the team is that we are the authority in skills development. And if we say we are the authority in skills development, that means we must be the first point of call. You know, when someone thinks about skills, they must think Inseta. They mustn't think about another institution. So that's the only way we can be able to do that, by driving research and innovation and also talk about skills, current and future skills. I think the World Economic Forum has already given a top list of the future skills or skills that will be required in the future by 2025. And we all must be able to take a cue and align them to our planning instruments. With that said, I would like to call the CFO to then tell you about the money. Let's give her a round of applause.
Am I audible? Chairperson of the insurance SETA, all our distinguished stakeholders and guests. I'll just say all protocol observed. The next slides will basically be reflecting on the financial overview of the insurance SETA, how we have performed financially for the 22-23 financial year. The slide basically tells it all. It basically tells us where we're coming from in terms of the revenue that we have collected over the 5 years period. And it also tells us how have we performed in terms of the 22-23 financial year. Ladies and gentlemen, as the insurance SETA, we have received or we have recognized revenue amounting to about 670 million. And we can see that from the impact of the COVID-19 in 2020, 2021, and the upward trajectory to 21, 22, and how we have improved in 22, 23, with about 11% increase or growth when we compare the two financial years of 21, 22, and also 22, 23. But also most importantly is to be able to reflect how we have performed in terms of the skills development levies. How much have we received and the percentage thereof, which obviously we need to appreciate all the employers whom have contributed, because we have achieved an 8% SDL growth from 2021, 2022 to 22, 23, ladies and gentlemen. I think we deserve a round of applause. With that, we have recognized, or we have attained, a surplus, meaning that our income that we have recognized and the expenses that we have incurred in 22-23 have resulted in a surplus of 13.6 million, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is something that we really need to appreciate, the fact that it basically indicates that there are budget control measures that are implemented such that we are not overspending on our budget, and also the income that we have recognized. Next slide. The next slide, ladies and gentlemen, basically tells us in terms of our performance from the actual revenue, but also the actual expenditure that we have incurred, because it's important to have controls in place to exercise reasonable care in terms of spending. This means that we need to make sure that we don't spend more than what we have actually recognized or what we have received on our revenue. So it basically shows us that we were able to spend within what is available, because that becomes important in most public sector organizations, to stay within what is available, to use the limited resources that are available, obviously to use them economically, efficiently, and effectively. The next slide speaks to the liquidity analysis. And why is this slide important? Because it basically tells us, as the insurance SETA, how liquid are we? Are we able to meet our short-term commitments in terms of servicing whatever debts that are outstanding with the available cash resources? So it is very important to be able to see the pattern, analyze and understand the pattern of our liquidity management, so that we are able to reflect and gauge ourselves if we are meeting all our liquidity objectives as we have said. We are reflecting as the organization that our cash and cash equivalent was amounting to about 691 million. Obviously, we have committed the majority of that amount, because it is sitting as part of our commitments, where we have contracts with the respective employers and institutions, such as the higher education institutions, but we also have payables. So it basically tells us that we are liquid and we have been managing a healthy liquid position as the organization. The most important question that we must ask ourselves is, how do we fund all these programs? Because we need to understand where we generate the revenue, where is our revenue coming from? And that basically tells us that our revenue sources are mainly from the three sources of revenue, which is the SDL, which basically accounted for about 93% of our total revenue, and that amounted to about 625. So this is the amount where we have actually had that 8% increase when we compare it with the previous financial year, ladies and gentlemen. We obviously also exercise internal controls around banking and cash management. Hence, we also invest any fund that is available, any money that is available. Hence, we generate or we earn interest on that. And we had about 37 million that we have received through interest that we generated on invested funds. The next slide basically further breaks down the SDL, because I've already indicated that the significant component of our revenue comes from the SDL. But we need now to understand and unpack it further to say where and what is this SDL made up of. So it's made up of the three areas which are obviously legislated. 387 million basically represents the discretionary grant income that we have received, and obviously 156 is the portion that relates to the mandatory grants, and 82 million is basically the admin income. Ladies and gentlemen, the next slide, it's just to summarize everything that I've spoken about. It basically gauges ourselves, it measures ourselves in terms of compliance, but also how effective our internal controls, especially the financial internal controls. We had spent 100% of our DG expenditure, which we have allocated on our original budget, or which the board has approved. So it basically means that we have 100% DG expenditure against the original budget. And those that are within the SETA space would know how the environment is legislated, especially around spending, especially around income or revenue. We have a ratio, or we have a percentage whereby we need to make sure that at all costs we are not above that. And that is an expenditure on project admin. We were sitting at 7.07. The compliance, or rather the legislated threshold days that we must not spend above 7.5. So we were within the 7.5, ladies and gentlemen. And if we are above, it basically means that we have incurred irregular expenditure, which we haven't, ladies and gentlemen. We also have 100% spending on support admin, meaning that whatever that has been allocated for support admin has been spent fully in line with the threshold that has been set in terms of the SETA grant regulations. We have also spent 100% on MG expenditure against what was approved by the board in terms of the original budget. As I've said, ladies and gentlemen, the total revenue year on year was sitting at about 11%. I've also spoken about the liquidity, which was sitting at 5.75:1. Well, we don't have really in the public sector a norm in terms of the liquidity, but to be above the one, it means that we are very highly liquid as an organization. Ladies and gentlemen, the next slide basically speaks to the audit outcome as an institution. We basically thought it's important to just unpack the audit outcome analysis so that we are able to see where we are coming from and where we are, because it's important. And this basically says to us, what have we, or how have we performed in the previous financial years? So for 21-22, ladies and gentlemen, we had findings which were about 44. And we developed action plan or remedial action plan to address those, which were about 120. But as part of the excellence model, we then this year in 22-23, of the 35 audit findings that have been raised, we said we are not going to be dealing only with what has been raised. We are going to be doing a 360 degrees analysis so that we are able to pick up any and everything that might be a potential risk to us as an organization. Hence, we have developed about 156 audit findings. Next slide. The next slide, I will try to also align it with what the CE has already presented in terms of us walking the journey, walking the excellence journey. The audit action plan or the audit turnaround strategy that we have presented or that we have developed as an organization, ladies and gentlemen, is actually embedded on the 4 pillars that are contained in the excellence model. So it's embedded on the people, the mandate, the systems, and to make sure that we make an impact to our stakeholders, internal stakeholders as well as the external stakeholders. So this clean audit roadmap that we have developed, it is to say that we want to make sure that we live by the excellence journey that we are walking. We want to make sure that we assure our stakeholders that we know the direction, we know the strategic objective that we want to attain. We want to make sure that we attain the clean audit. And the clean audit is embedded on the fact that we need to make sure that there's risk responsive internal controls. And I think internal controls, or rather having an improved internal control environment, is what we are actually targeting as an organization, because then it means that anything and everything from the bottom level, from the bottom staff, they understand their role and how it contributes to the overall excellence and how it contributes to the overall mandate of our organization. So these are the highlights that are there, and I think the chair and also the CE has touched mainly on the data cleansing process that we have undertaken as an organization, because anything and everything basically, it comes from the data that we have. So if we have a challenge or data integrity challenges, then it means obviously our reporting is going to be incorrect. Hence, we took a decision to make sure that we target, or rather we use a target approach, and we focus on the data cleansing, we focus on improving our financial controls, we make sure that our commitment register is revised and it speaks to what we have, and making sure that we also monitor ourselves, especially on performance, because performance speaks to our mandate as the insurance sitter and how we deliver it to yourselves as our stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to hand back to the CE in terms of the next presentation, in terms of looking forward. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, CFO. We are concluding now, stakeholders. And I think it's important for us to just highlight, with the performance of 91%, and also with some of the issues relating to the audit outcome, what is our plan and where are we going? So if we just look at the 2 financial outer years, because we've got a 5-year strategic plan which ends in March 2026, the remaining 2 financial years, we will be having 61 indicators, which means from 56, we are adding another 5 additional indicators into our strategy. So that's 61 indicators per annual, per financial year. But we thought let's highlight some of the key focus areas. We do, as part of our enabling strategies, implement the economic reconstruction and recovery plan. But we also support the district development model. If you saw earlier on when we were projecting to the stakeholders the 8 rural projects that we implemented, it is part of the economic reconstruction and recovery as well as the DDM. And we have a number of other programs that we are implementing in support of the district development model, because we work with municipalities, with the provincial offices, we work with national departments, but mainly we work with our principal department, which is the Department of Higher Education. I would also like to, before going there are people I'm seeing in the room, Chairperson, with your permission, I know this is the Chairperson's meeting, to acknowledge. So there's a special person in the room. Her name is Mbalenhle Brightness Nomkosi Mkhize. And you know why? because that's my young sister. She's sitting right there in. So stand up so they can see you. So you know what runs in the family. I don't have to tell you. It just runs. But also, I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Makubela as you walk in. He's the CEO of Sagra. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. I know that there is someone I saw, but I could not acknowledge. There's a lady from Saika. She shares the same name as me, Gugu. Gugu, please stand up so that we can see you. So let me continue. Everybody else is important, right? I'm just acknowledging the some of the stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. So our plan going forward is that we want to support about 2,420 employers. That will be for between 2024 right up to 2026. That's big and ambitious plans. And this will be done obviously through the number of specific programs that we'll be implementing. But also we want to support SMEs in the region of 835. This is already in our plans, in our strategic plan. We are not just talking about numbers, but it's already in the strategic plan. And then also we would like to support workers, 9,390 workers. That's the plan for the next 2 years. But also we want to support young people. If you look at the numbers, 12,165 young people that we'll be supporting. Over and above this, there are 3 programs in the pipeline where the funding has already been almost confirmed. I do not want to jinx it. But if you look at the funding that we are expecting, we will be supporting 9,000 young people who are in high school with the STEM program. And then secondly, in the employability program, we will also be supporting 7,500 young people who will be placed in the insurance industry for various in various insurance companies, as well as outside of the organization, because the funding is not coming from us, so we are allowed to prioritize insurance, but where there are excess opportunities, engage with other industries which are related to the insurance industry. But also we have got plans as well to implement the ISSF. And the ISSF, both being implemented by Inseta as well as our potential funder, we are looking at around 2,000 beneficiaries that will be funded over the next 3 years. So these are the numbers we're just highlighting to you to say we have big plans. We need your support as our stakeholders, because we cannot do this on our own. We know how it is to work in collaboration and partnership with our stakeholders. You are the ones who have enabled us to achieve the 91 performance that we have. And then just looking forward in terms of some of the priority areas we'll be focusing on, the implementation of the excellence model for us is a #1 priority, because that's the pulse of the organization. But also we want to empower and support our employees within, so that they can be able to drive the mandate of the organization. I think when we went to our implementation session not so long ago, we were able to establish that almost 30 to 40% of our staff members are currently studying. Some are doing multiple programs that is geared towards enabling them to have more capacity. And then the second part is also obviously supporting supporting transformation as well as digital inclusion. I highlighted earlier some of the programs we're implementing. There's lots more, but we just highlighted some. the programs in terms of what we are doing. We are serious about transformation, and we want to have actionable programs to support people with disabilities, people who come from historically disadvantaged backgrounds, but also to make sure that there is digital inclusion, especially to young people who don't have access to connectivity in the rural areas who want to get into the insurance industry. The support for SMEs, we will continuously ramp this up, and you've seen in the numbers that we are aiming for the skies when it comes to supporting our SMEs, as well as the collaboration with other potential funders. With Inseta, Chairperson, I think we have proven that we are not scared to go and look for funding. We are not waiting for the levies, and you will see, because of the Insurance Sector Student Fund, we've already been able to get more money than just looking at our single source, which is the levies. So we are not scared to go and say, this is what we do. We want to partner with you. How much do you have? We are not scared to say that. And I think it's one of the unique traits about ourselves as a SETA. We've been able to engage and go to boardrooms where people don't, probably other people are not really keen on going and engaging on potential funding opportunities. And when these happen and they hit us at the same time, don't be surprised with more awards. As I conclude, I would like to read for you a quote from Aristotle. So my daughter was asking, who is Aristotle? So let me just read the quote for you. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. So that's the end of the presentation. Program Director, thank you very much for indulging us.
Ladies and gentlemen, multi-award winner, Ukawazel. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, CE. Thanks, CE. Wow, wow, wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a part where we had to absorb information. So this was information sharing session. So they gave us information and they expected us to make notes in order for us to hold them accountable. So after this session, the next session is the accountability session. So that will be a Q&A session. So CEO has spoken about team excellence, the excellence model. Her team, we call it team excellence. And everyone in that executive team have been appointed by the CEO herself, the multi-award winner. So you'll hear them. You'll hear the excellence coming from them. Just sit back, relax. Don't mind about time. I know that they've just pushed time so that they can, chair, they want to claim overtime. We value chair. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, I'm going to call on stage the Inseta executives. This is team excellence that they're going to come and occupy the stage. And in so doing, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have the mics roaming around so that we can also ask them questions and they will provide us with answers. Team excellence. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. The multi-award winner last. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Is Tepo around? Are you sorted with the mics? Okay. So we are going to allow 3 questions at a time, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to ask them any question, ladies and gentlemen. This is Team Excellence of Inseta under the leadership of the award-winning Uma Kabazel. So, with a raise of hands, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to give you an opportunity to ask them questions. They've given us information, remember? They've given us information. They shared a lot of information with us. Do we have questions for them? Okay. Here's a gentleman over there. Please introduce yourself and then ask your question.
Thank you, Program Director, and thank you, everyone. My name is Muteo Kwadi. I'm with the CSO Group. My question is founded by what you mentioned earlier regarding STEM and the appreciation of this organization regarding STEM. Because I say this because we know what the stats are like regarding mathematics and physics and the children adopting that. How are you approaching this in terms of encouraging children to do that? Because we've got mathematics and you've got mathematical literacy. But the honest thing is that mathematical literacy is not enough for the STEM field. Are we addressing this with the schools? Are we addressing this with the children? And how are you looking at it from an honest perspective? Because I think a lot of organizations are not honest with children about the minimum requirements that this industry is going to need for this digital inclusion and transformation, actually. Thank you.
Wow, that was question number 1. I never thought you'll ask such difficult questions. I'm happy I'm not sitting on one of those chairs. Chair, do you agree? Thank you. Can we have the next question before they respond? Thank you. Can we have the next question before they respond? Aibo. Where's Zala? There's a hand there. Okay.
Good evening, CE.
Good evening.
And the chair. My name is Rufus. I'm an independent financial advisor for 30 years. So we are having also an organization that is called BIAC. And we have black financial advisors with an experience over 1,000 years. So every time CE and the chair, I hear there is IFA, but other organizations are not heard. And I don't know how much of the government subsidy are you getting. Is it only the levies from the private sector? Because most of those organizations, black organizations, are not funded. They are not sponsored. I know Inseta is not sponsoring those, but IFA is sponsored. And if you look at the main thing that we are looking at is grooming the youngsters in this business, mainly those ones that look like us. Because if you look at the research, about 6 million black middle class is middle class that must be serviced by those brokers. So we are not, there is no organization, there is no black organization that is funded. You look at CISA, you look at SASRIA, there is no black organization that is funded. And we are the ones who must produce those brokers who must mentor these kids. So we are wondering if maybe in the statutes, there is still that apartheid system that monies must go only toward organizations, that even if we are the ones who must produce, the ones that must help this SETA. I mean, we are in majority, they are in minority, but all the funding goes to them. So we have to be upfront with this so that CE, the chairperson, you must know that a lot of work that you are waiting for is from us, the black brokers. In our organization, we are over 120 members, still counting. But if we had some funds to grow our membership in the provinces, it could be more. And we have also reps. These are brokers, over 120, but they are employing reps and they are training the younger ones who are coming up. So I don't know if in the books a black organization must not be subsidized, must not be sponsored. And some of our organizations, black organizations, they've even went under the FIA to be the sub organizations. I don't understand it. Demographics, they don't tell me this way, but maybe you'll tell us something. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was round one. I will not allow any question for now. I will allow the executive to respond to both the questions, then we'll open up for a second round. Because I don't want us to forget any question.
Thank you. I think the EMO will expand a bit on the second question.
Okay.
But I will also just try to touch on it. On the STEM, I think our approach to STEM is we cannot work with learners without the educators, because they go back to the same classrooms and they'll have the issues if we're not having a comprehensive approach. So the proposal that we had submitted included the training of 1,000 educators on the specific methodology that we will be implementing. But also our STEM is not only just maths and science, but it's also on technology and entrepreneurship. Because we understand that there are possibilities or opportunities for young people to get into the sector through the route of entrepreneurship. So that's the approach we will be following once approval for funding has been granted. We're not going to just train young people, learners, and then take them back to the classroom, but we want to have a combined approach where educators and learners also provided with capacitation, so that those 1,000 educators, once they have improved their teaching methodology, they can be able to also transfer the skills to other educators as well. Yeah, so that's the approach. I want to also challenge BIAC on saying we are open as the Inseta to working with all organizations, as long as they are structured and we know how the organization is structured. And I think we have engaged with Mr. Mburu before on wanting to get to understand what kind of support will they require. Obviously, because we are a skills development organization, our funding is only limited to training programs or learning programs, but capacitation of a business itself is something that will fall outside, might fall partly outside of our ambit. But I want to also say we are open as Inseta to working in partnership with BIAC. As long as you are clear on what kind of support you want and it is within our mandate, we will be able to support you and collaborate and partner with you. We are open for that. To that extent, I am going to hand you over to the EMO to say after now, he must then take you up on that challenge and engage with you further in terms of how do we then move forward in terms of partnering, because the support for black brokers, I think we do have even some of the programs, not only programs under FIA where we are supporting the black brokers, but we do want to engage with you further outside of these forums, just to understand in detail what kind of support are you seeking from us? Is it training? If it's training, what kind of training, and how can we then collaborate and partner together? Yemo?
Yeah, thanks, CEO. So I guess so I've got an instruction, so I've got to make sure I do it. And the way this team works, when an instruction is out, it's out. It doesn't go back. So it's out, it's out. I trust that you will be able to, on your end, be able to keep up, because we will be there running after you, because we want to, as the CEO has said, yes, we do speak a little bit, but we want to come here next year and be able to showcase that part of the discussions that happen in such environments do happen, do get implemented. So definitely I will be running with that. Yeah, so without going to other I think scenarios or examples, we do accept and this is a general one, I think. So there could be somebody here with a similar issue. So if you've got an association, a body which seeks to empower young people, develop young people within the confines of the sector of what we do, this applies to everyone, Mr. Makubela. Everyone is actually welcome to contact us in any of the established methods to come through and do this. But in your case, I guess I'll be the one coming to you. But to everyone else, we are fairly open. When you propose, we will respond to it. We always do. So definitely we'll be looking at seeing how we can partner with your organization and assist it to fulfill its mandate, to grow itself, but to also grow the number of young people that can potentially benefit from such a program. Yeah.
Funding model, CFO?
So as the C has indicated, what we are looking for and what we are currently engaging on is alternative funding models, not only relying on one or rather a single source of funding. We're basically exploring any available funding because we want to make an impact. And that's why we kept on referring back to the pillars of the excellence model, because obviously the limited revenue that we generate through the SDL is obviously not enough to cover the demand. Hence, we go and partner with the various organizations so that we can really make the impact that we want.
Thank you, the executives. Ladies and gentlemen, any further questions, engagements? And executives, thank you so much for clarifying the questions, more especially the second question, because it keeps on coming out every time we have stakeholder engagement. And I trust and believe that today we have rubber stamped that question. And EMO, thank you so much for taking the accountability to say you will go to the institution yourself. Thank you so much. That's why you are called Team Excellence. Another question.
No, thank you, Chair. I think maybe before I can even ask my question, most of the time, good things are usually clouded by bad things, no matter how good the good things are, like the significance of the good things. When the CFO mentioned the surplus, that was a lot of money. One of the problems that we face as employers and employer representatives is that when you go to SETAs, they'll always tell you at the end of the year, we don't have money. And to see that there's a surplus, it is a good thing. And when she mentioned that surplus, the first thing I noted on my notes is, I wonder where does this money come from? I hope it's not from them not being able to implement your DGs and mandatory grants because that's priority. But when she showed 100% expenditure on everything, I was happy. That's a good thing. It also means that now, moving forward, we're going to have excess money to add on whatever funding has been in place. So I think it's very important to highlight that we really appreciate that, and the mechanisms that have been put in place to try and manage those risks, they're actually working. So that's a good thing.
Thank you.
Now,
Exact-
Chair, just quickly to come to my actual question now.
Okay.
So look, I know that when the CE mentioned there that look, we were able to submit 90% of the WSPs and DGs online, and then 10%, was unfortunately manual. Now, I think for me the important question is that is then a plan in place to address that, to make sure that we don't have that moving forward? Because my biggest concern now is that from a percentage perspective, that 10% might be small. But if we were to look at the actual numbers, if we're talking about, let's say, 20,000 employers who could not necessarily submit on the system, that's a bad thing. Because also it means that there might be then others who could not submit on the system and also manually, and there might be in big numbers as well. So I think the important thing now is that is there a plan in place from the SETA to say, we are going to address this thing of the system failing? And to be honest with you, Chair, I don't know what is the issue, CE, because it seems that it is a trend with most SETAs. I'm not going to mention them, but most SETAs seem to have this issue of putting in place awesome systems, but then at some point they fail in terms of capacity, and they, are unable to assist us as employers to be able to do what we're supposed to do in terms of claiming the grants and everything else. So I think that is important. Is there a plan in place to address those things, to reduce those 10% to zero to a large extent? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. A round of applause for that question. You're spoken like the chairperson of Inseta. The chair will always ask the similar question. Let me give an opportunity to the executive to respond.
Okay, thanks. I will start with the, I will deal with the question on the manual submission of WSPs. So indeed, I think, of course, we would have liked a 100% submission on the system. And it's not just the ease of submission on the system. The underlying issue with submitting on the system is that there's lots of data in these WSPs and ATRs, which data we will have to use for various things, including the sector skills plan. So it's an extremely important data sitting outside of the system. It's almost like data you don't have, because then you can't really run it through analytics and the likes. So it's a very important issue that everything is done on the system. But I think I must also hasten to add that this occurrence is a report from April of this year, going a little bit into March, where there were still some teething issues with the module. But the module has since been completed, and everything is running well. I think maybe just a precursor to that is that we are one of the few SETAs where the entire MIS is actually being run and supported internally. But it's also the reason why we had so many problems in the beginning. But it also means because of this close control with our own MIS, we're able to become much more responsive to issues. We understand it a lot better, and we do so every day. So definitely it's not a problem that exists now, but it is something that we've had to deal with. But it's something that's also very important to us. And with our chairperson being an IT person, we have gotten that question a lot of times. It's true. So right now it is not the issue at all, but we take it quite seriously. Each time when we open the window, we ensure that there are resources to assist all employers with their submissions, almost literally around the clock. Okay, not that much, but I mean, we go late into the night. On the final date of submission, I know this because we were in constant communication. The last person or the last person that needed support in terms of submitting, this was done at 11:38 on the day. We know this because we were available, because we wanted it to happen, because it's just as important to us. So yeah, thanks.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Yemo.
I think the resourcing my colleague can deal with.
CFO?
I think the most difficult responsibilities of the CFO Primarily, it is to explore and unlock funding. And I think that's strategically the most fundamental responsibility of each CFO. And I think every now and again, the EMO and the CE would be tasking me with that responsibility to say, we need funding to be able to fund the discretionary projects, or we need to be able to plow back and make an impact. And I agree with my brother there that with any surplus that we have, we actually plow it back. Even at year end, we make sure that if there's any uncommitted funding that is available, it is put back into the pot for us to be able to take back to all the stakeholders. So I think that is what we are looking internally and externally. So we look at whatever available funding that is that we have or that we can explore internally and unlock internally, but also we then collaborate externally with any other organizations so that we can add on to the existing funding that we have. That is what we are actually implementing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's getting hot. Kuba shush. Yeah, your questions. Can I get the last two questions? Oh, there's a hand.
Okay, good. I think it's evening. To everyone, my name is Asamgele Chabe. I think I will also start by saying I must really say the excellent team is doing its job well. I work with a lot of.
Well done, well done.
This is my first AGM meeting I've attended.
Wow.
I said there's no way I have to be part and say thank you to the team. I'm saying this because I work with a lot of stakeholders from the Eastern Cape. This has been a pride. I must say, first of all, I'm very happy that I'm part of Inseta for the longest time. I was able to know from when it started maybe let me put it like it started, but from when I entered starting to work with Inseta, how things were and were growing. I must comment and say, when it comes to the funding, really Inseta has done much.
Sure.
I mean, as you can see with how the financials are being put there, that the revenue has grown. You could see now even the reflection on how the DG is being given out that there is. I'm saying this proudly because I've seen stakeholders or employers within my pool that have grown successfully. I know when I started working with him, having one person, but he has grown now, he has got a current team of about 5 or 6 that he has absorbed. Now I've seen that now this is really making an impact. That's why I'm proud to say the excellent team is doing its job well. So well done to the executive team that has put much. But now also I've got I wouldn't say necessarily this is a question, but as I've been engaging with one of my stakeholders or many of them, I know that Inseta has indicated that it would like to grow to put young people within the industry and groom them. But now there is also a thing that has always been in question with my stakeholders pertaining your RE, accommodation, and so on. So I have been indicating to them, no, you do it yourself and so on. But now they're asking, can't Inseta put up maybe a program that each and every year we can have people that can apply to undergo the RE training? Yes, we do see it under the learnership. It's incorporated there. But now there are people that are employed within the company that would want to maybe sell better products, but they would need some support from the Inseta side. So I want to put that to the executive to see that what plan can they have for these brokers, because I know that it can make a big impact in terms of transforming and also growing the industry now from selling only the small packages or the products to now become financial advisors, because maybe they've got the RE5 and so on. So that support is really needed. So I don't know, maybe is there anything that can be done going forward with that? Thank you.
Thank you. Your hand is noted. Can I give an opportunity?
There's another hand.
Oh, noted, the two hands, but let's kill this one and then go to the.
You want to kill
Okay,
it?
in any event, program director, it's not a difficult one to kill.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I think the short answer is we can look at it, we can consider it, and then we will make two announcements if we have to, but we'll definitely consider it. Obviously, there are several, I think, intricacies around it, but it's something that we can consider.
Thank you. And what I can add on is that when it comes to Inseta, in terms of finances, we are open and transparent, nothing hidden. They will all tell you. What you saw there is what transpired. Thank you. Mike, for the front table. Then you are next. Over here.
Greetings, Program Director. May I say, all protocol observed. Thank you very much for such a wonderful reporting in terms of the work that you've been doing as an entity. And the other sitters are looking to insurance sitter. I think last night, Ms. Mkize has been hailed as the CEO that is really not only progressive, but really to signal the importance to raise additional funding. That for me is looking beyond 2030. The question I have is, have you considered how you're going to contribute towards growing? You know, the insurance industry in South Africa is market cap at $50 billion US. And therefore, this represents only 2% of the global market, less than 2%, because the total global market is $5.6 trillion US. Now, raising funds, can we look at that? Have you considered this SLP in the mining sector? Have you considered the corporate social investment of different companies? Because those are other avenues that are available. But much more iconic for this sitter would be the issue of new products. There's a lot of traditional products, and I think, and when you talk to and about the African market in particular, you know that the most prominent one is Babizan Umasngcwabane. Yes. The death insurance, you know. And there's so much money that people can make out of the insurance industry. So perhaps what other new products can come? And thirdly, your level of involvement in awareness creation. You know, if you negotiate properly with the assurance part of the insurance products, that's quite good money than just buying a death insurance. So I'd really like to see these three areas. Have you considered the other avenues I've mentioned? How are you going to assist to really grow the pool of new products? An example, I'm here with my granddaughter. My wife said to me, why don't we have what we would call, for professionals particularly, sabbatical insurance? You know, some of us, I've taken sabbatical to do my MBA abroad. Everything went well. I didn't have to worry about payments and so forth. So that's an example. And then last one, I think helping with issues of awareness. Most people in South Africa, if you look at their motor vehicles or even the houses in the townships, they are either uninsured or underinsured. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's pause your question and allow the executive to go first.
I think there were 4 questions.
Yes.
In one question.
Yes.
So I think I will try and answer
Or do you want some time so that
some
I'll,
of the questions and then let the EMO respond to them.
thank you.
The question on what we have considered, Mr. Makubela, about exploring alternative sources of funding with the CSIs and also working with the SLPs. I think when we initiated the Insurance Sector Student Fund, we went to the top employers and we engaged with them and we spoke to them about the funding. By the way, this the fund that we have is a conglomeration of our funding and the funding coming from 15 employers. But when you talk about the CSI, that's something that I think we can explore a bit further. But what we wanted to do was to see the intention from the employers to say, you already have huge training reserves, which you are using to training your staff. From those budgets that you have already made provision for, we want to partner with you and drive transformation, but also support young people. That's what gave birth to the fund, which is now being celebrated. But also on the CSI, I think we will never stop pursuing CSI opportunities in terms of collaborating and funding. I mean, looking at alternative sources of funding with the employers, which are within the industry and outside of the industry. The SLP, Dr. Mashongwane is here on the social labor plans. I think it's something that we can explore further through our partnership and collaborations with the MQA in terms of what can be done there from a skills development perspective, but also from an insurance perspective. I think I will stop there and allow you, EMO, because some of the questions are talking to research, which I think can be unpacked further as we go. But also just to highlight that we have started some of the innovative work, which is resulting in creating young entrepreneurs. I think in the beginning of this year, we had a graduation of 10 fintech startups, which were funded by Inseta, fresh ideas that came from nowhere. And we were able to fund these young people and took them through a training. And then after that, we then linked them up with the potential angel investors, as well as the public entities that are providing grant funding. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, CEO. So indeed, part of what the CEO presented earlier is how research heavy we are. And the reason why this research heavy is the kind of sector we operate in. It moves fairly quickly, and it's one of the sectors that has got to respond very quickly to anything, whether we like it as South Africans, we don't. There's a flood, this sector must, so it must also respond quickly. So we've got to keep up with it, which is why we're this research heavy, so that we're able to better also respond to it in terms of what they need from a skills perspective. So much so that we have a research chair just looking at digital or 4IR as we call it, because that's where most of the innovation, especially for this sector, is happening. We've actually just onboarded 2 more research chairs as well, with effect from October, to also build up our research capability. We do so because wherever we go, we get these kinds of questions. There are all sorts of ideas. There are all sorts of things we can pick up across all conversations that we find ourselves in. For instance, in terms of new product development from an insurance perspective, we are grappling with load shedding now, making the room warm, but those who can afford it are putting panels on their roofs, but in certain places those panels are disappearing. For instance, just as an example. So which is why part of our research work around the effects of climate change and other issues on the insurance sector, those are some of the directions we're trying to explore and see. can we put data on the table that can put these young innovators, such as the ones that we did on this program, an opportunity to look at them and pursue them? So it's just one of the many, I think, areas we're trying to look at from a research perspective, understanding what can be put on. I think some of the people, maybe many in this room, would be aware that we had a research colloquium in September. On the 28th of September, I think it was here, if I remember well. And part of the things that were mentioned are around the new streams of coverage that can be done within the insurance industry, especially with a country such as ours, which is its unique challenges, if I may put it that way. So that's why we want to, as an authority, we take that responsibility to say, let's try and provide intelligence on the table of those that need to use it from an innovation or product innovation perspective, for it to be there and be available for use. And in fact, just as a follow-up to the research colloquium that we had, we will be in about a few weeks or so, start a series of webinars to further break down part of the research papers that have been done in the last 18 months or so. There's about 7 papers, cutting-edge innovation papers, that we'll be sharing through these webinars. And through this, we are expecting to raise more and more, or put more and more information on the tables of those that either should take up these opportunities from an innovative perspective, but also the leaders of the sector should get access to this kind of knowledge. And of course, we hope it will then create more and more sources of revenue or innovations from a product development perspective in the sector.
Thank you. That's team excellence. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That's team excellence. There was a hand at the back. Let's allow the hand to ask a question. Sure, I pity you, Mafazana.
Good afternoon.
You know, you prepared, you have a mic, but questions are not coming.
Afternoon, colleagues. My name is Kukule Twagam. I am from the Informal Economic Development Forum. I'm heading the CSI and training portfolio of that organization. I would love to know, I apologize, I arrived late, so I don't know if this was touched upon. I would love to know that in terms of the economic sector, is there anything that perhaps is on the pipeline that's going to come up? Because I think most of us in this room have seen the young people standing at the corners that are selling insurance. But the depth of insurance hasn't even been touched on, as Mr. Makubele had said. Most of them are only introduced to insurance only ngumasingcwabisane. So I also realize that in terms of higher learning, when it comes to SETAs, most of the people, they enroll for the stipend, but we can't let one rotten potato ruin everything for everyone else that's interested in learning more. So I would love to know that in terms of the informal economy, is there anything that Inseta has in line to perhaps foresee for those young people that have already started with that sector? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, Yemo, it's you again.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So there are 2 things here. Some of the things that we do on behalf of the sector, the organized sector, if I can put it that way. So that would mean the formal part of it, which would mean the employers and other stakeholders in the room, those that do training for the employers and the likes. So that part of it, because of the way or the nature in which it's formalized, we can't respond to that question from that angle. But what we're also doing on our side, and maybe you may have picked it up as when we're talking about SMMEs and cooperatives, is when we have, and I'll borrow a word from another place, when we've swelled the ranks of our young people, I'll assume unemployed young people with skills, only then can we expect them to use those skills for 2 things, for employment or self-employment. And we know the issues of employment, which then means then we've got to look at how these young people can be redirected towards self-employment, which then means we've got to be able to assist these young people with all issues related to self-employment or small business, whether formal or informal, which would include value creation, opportunity identification, and the likes, and so on. Which is why increasingly, if you remember that the CEO will have said, while we have done the number that we saw on SMME support, and there was also co-op support next to it, it is nearly not enough when you look at the number of people who are trying to redivert from seeking employment to seeking self-employment. But of course, the precursor to that will always be skills, and then we can see what the exit point will be, which can either be employment or self-employment. So most of the work that we will do in the skills phase will obviously affect young people, unemployed young people. If you look at, I'm sure you would have seen the numbers, the large bulk of our budget actually goes into youth programs. And the smaller one into worker programs for that reason, so that young people also have this opportunity of where opportunities for employment have not been presented, have to then look at the spaces, and those spaces could be even outside of our sector. But as long as they could have been assisted with a program where they become, we breed tigers or lions that can hunt for themselves, kind of thing. So it is the kind of thing that we're trying to increase or ramp up on, because we know the problems of formal employment.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the day has gone older. And if there's no last hand going once, twice, it's gone. So, ladies and gentlemen, let this not be the last time that we engage as stakeholders and the Inseta. You are most welcome to visit Inseta in their new offices. As they mentioned, they are in Sandton, there's aircon, there's enough parking, there's snacks when you walk into the offices. Am I correct? Snacks. And let's also make use of the social media to engage with Inseta. We have the executive and the staff that is always willing to assist, to help in all the things that we need as the stakeholders and engage with us as stakeholders. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have come to the end of our Q&A session, and let's give the Team Excellence a big round of applause. Team Excellence, you can go back to your seats.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me call him now. And let me give you an opportunity. You call him. It's you, see. Okay. Thank you. Hey, when you speak to the multi-award winner, you can't say no. My hand has been squeezed. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give an opportunity to one special invitee just to give us a word or two. I don't think that the speaker will take long because of the age of the day at this point in time. And ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the one and only Mr. Matkubela. Over to you, sir. Let's. How? Nkelu Mike. Okay. Thank you.
Testing.
Thank you, Program Director. Thank you. May I greet all of you in this auspicious occasion, being a very important part of accounting to not only the stakeholders, but to the citizens of South Africa through the report that has been tabled and seen by the Auditor General. The board of Inseta thank you very much for having spearheaded the transformation of this SETA. This was one of the most unknown SETAs. This has been one of the most, SETAs that were less prominent in terms of reach and also in terms of making sure that our people, and from all sectors, even including the employers in the sector, are served. I'm not going to be long. I come here bearing some gifts, but I would like to share a very short message with you, ladies and gentlemen. I come from the South African Council for Graduates. We have, since 1997, been working in the field of skills development. And I'm glad that Mr. Kuzwayo is here from the National Skills Authority. Greetings to you, Mhlegazi. And I'm also delighted that the other SETA CEOs are here. Our work started before SETA funding was popular, because we are not just looking for funding from the SETAs. We are creating impact in ensuring that young people, students and graduates, they get workplace training. It is a program that has grown so phenomenally, and today we work with all the 21 SETAs. My message is, let us look at the ways of transformation similar to how the Springboks have made us proud. We cannot afford to only look at race, gender, or past transformation. It's not going to help us. We really need to be conscious of what we call performance transformation. How do we consciously, intentionally make sure that we up the game, all of us, as employees, as employers, and as executives? We got to up the game. The third pillar of what I'm asking that we look at as part of our transformation fraternity is the planetary transformation that is referred to as global warming. We don't have any other home. This is the only one. If we have other programs, are we making sure that we are really protecting this home? Unfortunately, you cannot go to Mars as yet. Unfortunately, we cannot go. We don't have the passport to Mars. We don't have the visa to the Mars or other planets. So I really do request, ladies and gentlemen, that can we consider upping the game in terms of the performance? And actually, what I've realized is that we need each other more than ever before. The past weekend, I was in Dar es Salaam, handing over awards to the top 100 CEOs in Tanzania. One thing they referred to was that South Africa, you are lucky because you have diversity. So let us not treat our diversity as something that we should be ashamed of or something that is toxic. It is a plus. Let it work for us. And I think we have to be like the Springboks. We've got to work together. South Africa's insurance market is at 50 billion. The African continent is sitting at 79 billion. So you can tell the numbers. If you want to grow, there's 1.4 billion people up north. And there are people who've traversed that market before. The ShopRites, why can't we work with them? The MTNs, MTN is growing on the west coast of Africa. Vodacom is growing on the east coast. You're in Egypt, I can use my Vodacom without any trouble. I'm in Tanzania, I'm in DRC, I can use my Vodacom without any trouble. Why are we not monetizing the opportunities that we have? Now I'm going to ask the PA to the CEO to bring the gift that I brought so that I can present it. And I'm going to request the CEO, Mr. Mkiza, may you please come to receive our gift from the South African Council for Graduates for the good work you've been doing at the insurance sector in such a short space of time.
Oh, wow. You can hear.
We've been giving a lot of awards. I said this time, Mr. Kuja, let it be different.
Thank you so much. Siyabonga, siyabonga, siyabonga. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Siyabonga.
Congratulations, CE. But you've got a lot. Can I? CE. Yeah. It comes with excellence. Yeah, and through hard work, CE. And yeah, well done, CE. You deserve everything, CE. Deserve everything. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our AGM. But before I hand you over to my fellow board member, Ms. Paula Mendes, to deliver the vote of thanks, from my side, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you for your active participation in today's AGM. Your dedication, your support are essential to the success of our organization as Inseta. Let's continue to work together to ensure a prosperous and impactful future. I wish you all well over the festive season, and may the good Lord bless you and your loved ones. Ladies and gentlemen, me Paula Mendes, and I thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I extend a heartfelt, warm greeting to each and every one of you. We have just concluded our annual general meeting, a momentous occasion where we come together to reflect on this past year's achievements, discuss our future plans, and make important decisions that will shape the course that Inseta will take. And I stand before you with a heart filled with gratitude as we bring this significant event to a close. I must say to our program director and my fellow board member, Mr. Jacob Mabena, I think you need to declare another profession, that of program director. You've done a sterling job. Thank you. Thank you. I would like to express my deepest appreciation to our stakeholders. Your active participation, engagement, and dedication to Inseta are the cornerstones of our success. Your support and involvement in the various activities and initiatives have been invaluable. Without your commitment, we would not be the thriving community that we are today. Your support and collaboration have been vital to our growth and success. Your trust in Inseta and your willingness to invest in our initiatives and support our programs is deeply, deeply appreciated. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to our leadership team, the chairperson of the board, Mr. Sihle Ngubane, my fellow board members, the CEO of Inseta, Ms. Gugu Mkize, and to her staff. Thank you for your hard work, commitment, and perseverance this past year. It's no surprise that Inseta has scooped up 5 awards together with the CEO because we see excellence in everything that is done, from the CEO cascading to all staff. Well done. To our partners in the Department of Higher Education and Training and the Auditor General, you have played such a pivotal role in guiding Inseta throughout this past year. Your tireless efforts, unwavering commitment, and visionary leadership have been instrumental in steering us through the challenges that we faced. And we want to say thank you for always helping us capitalize on opportunities. Thank you also to the CEO from the National Skills Authority, Mining Qualifications Authority, SAGRA, and the Chief Director of the CETA Oversight from DHET for making time to spend with us this afternoon. We appreciate you. I would also like to acknowledge the incredible effort of the stakeholder relations team who worked tirelessly to put together this AGM and make it a success that it is. Your attention to detail, meticulous planning have ensured that it has run smoothly and flawlessly. Well done to you. Lastly, and by no means least, I want to say thank you to our members who have joined virtually. Your presence, despite the distance, is a testament to our collective commitment and determination to stay connected and engaged. In conclusion, may I express my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you. Our annual general meeting is not just a meeting, it is a celebration of our collective achievements, a testament to our shared values, and a reminder of the incredible potential that we have as an organization. As we depart from this gathering, let us carry forward the spirit of unity and purpose that have defined us. Thank you once again, and I look forward to another year of growth, collaboration, and success. Safe travels to you all. Enjoy your festive season. May it be peaceful and safe. Goodbye. Good night.
Okay, thanks a lot. From my side as well, I would like to appreciate our two volunteers of today. As Inseta, we would like to give a token of appreciation to Ms. Paula Mendez for volunteering her time to come and be with us here, and a vote of thanks to all the stakeholders. I think to you, Paula. Thank you very much for the good work you've done. And then to our program director. Thank you, program director, for as well to drive all the way from Northwest to come and assist in terms of directing the program. We appreciate the work that you have done as well. I think I'm told that there is a facet CEO, Ms. Ayanda is here as well. We'd like to, we acknowledge your presence. I know it's important. These CEOs, they work, they support one another through thick and thin. And thank you very much for coming to support Kuku. I think in a nutshell, stakeholders, the meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you.